Okay, so this time we may focus on the collecting, analyzing, and research for managers. No. Collecting and analyzing, of course, data and research for managers is an essential process aimed at acquiring information to guide decision making in strategic planning within the organization. At its core, data collection involves identifying relevant sources, which can range from internal databases to external market reports, no, depending on the research objectives. No. Managers must carefully select appropriate methods for data collections, whether through surveys, interviews, observation, or document analysis, ensuring alignment with the research goals and constraint. No? To give us more details about the topic, let us welcome our presenter. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, good morning po. Good morning, sir. Good morning, classmate. I am assigned to report on collecting and analyzing data. So before we start, alamin po muna natin yung mga objectives ng collecting and analyzing data. So first, understand collecting primary data. Second, learn several methods for collecting primary data. And third, understand collecting and analyzing secondary data. So let's proceed. As defined by Ms. Berna, primary data or raw data is a term for data collected at source. This type of information is obtained directly from first-hand sources. So hindi na natin po masyadong i-elaborate dahil na-discuss naman na po ito ni Ms. Berna. So next, what are the methods for collecting primary data? We have 4 as discussed in our book. First, we have the observation method. Second, we have the interview method. Third, we have the schedules. And fourth, we have the questionnaire. So let's discuss po ito one by one ng mabilisan lang. First, under the observation method, observation becomes scientific and the methods of data collection for the researcher. When it serves a formulated research purpose and is systematically planned and subjected to checks and control. Another definition I got from Google is that observation is a way of gathering data by watching behavior, events, or noting physical characteristics in their natural settings. Observation can be overt, which means everyone knows that they are being observed, or covert, no one knows that they are being observed. There are 3 sub-methods for collecting primary data. First, we have the structured method or structured and unstructured observation. Wait lang po. Under the structured observation takes place with predefined and characteristics in advance. It specifies in details what is to be observed and how the measurement is to be corrected. While in an unstructured exploratory observation naman, observation takes place without the predefined data, predefined plan and characteristics in advance. So in this situation, the researcher will take numerous field notes and may use video recording. The next sub-method naman po is the participants, non-participant, and the disguise observation. Under the participant method, this is when the observer observes by making himself or herself more or less member of the group, while the non-participants naman, when the observer observes by detaching himself or herself from the group under the observation. Kumbaga po, doon sa non-participants, nilalayo ng observer yung sarili niya. So this guy's observation naman, the observer observed in such a manner that his presence is unknown to the people. The third naman po, under the observation method is the controlled and uncontrolled observation. Under the controlled or observation, this is when the observer takes place according to some prearranged plan involving experimental procedure. And under the uncontrolled observation naman, observation takes place in natural setting. So tapos na po tayo dyan. No? Yan na po yung tatlong sub-methods under the observation method with structured and unstructured, participant, non-participant, disguised observation, and the control. Next, we have the disadvantage and limitation in using this method. First advantage is this is subjective to bias. Second advantage, the data is not affected by past behavior or future intention. Kumbaga mga present lang po ito. The third is natural behavior of the group can be recorded. So ano po ba yung sa amin ng natural behavior? Under natural conditions, so no pretensions kumbaga. So we have the limitations rin po using this observation method. First, it is expensive, magastos po siya. Third, information provided is limited, controlled or bounded information lang po yung makukuha natin. So the third is unforeseen factors may interfere with the observational task. So not expected to happen or unknown about beforehand yung makukuha natin mga observations natin dito. So the next slides naman, the next slide naman po will tackle about the interview method. The second method for collecting primary data is through the interview method. We can achieve this in two ways. The first is the personal interview. The second is the telephonic interview. Under the personal interview, medyo maraming po to. Under the personal interview, we have the direct personal investigation. So here, this is a method of collecting primary data through which the investigator contacts the informant directly to collect data by conducting on-the-spot inquiry. So under yung second po under this personal interview is the indirect oral examination. So here naman po, this is a method of collecting primary data through which the investigator approaches third parties who are in the possession of required information about the subject of inquiry. So the third is the structured interview. This involves the use of predetermined questions and of highly standard techniques of recording. Fourth is the unstructured interview. This does not follow a system of predetermined questions and is characterized by flexibility of approach of questioning. Sunod po natin yung focus interview. The interviewer may ask questions in any matter or sequence. So wala pong sinusunod na sequence or manner with the aim of to explore reasons and motives of the respondent. Pang-6 na po natin under the personal interviews, the focus interview. Yun yung focus, sorry, naudit lang po natin. So next is the clinical interview. This concern with broad underlying feeling and motives of individuals' life experiences, which are used as method to elicit information about, in this method, the interviewer's directions. So the last po under this personal interview is the non-directive interview. The interviewer's function is to encourage the respondent to talk about the given topic with a bare minimum of direct questioning. So dito rin po, under the interview method, we have the advantages and disadvantages. First advantage is more information and in-depth can be obtained. Samples can be controlled. There is greater flexibility under this method. Fourth, personal information can as well be obtained. And the last advantage is misinterpretation can be avoided by unstructured interview. We have limitations din po under this interview method. It is an expensive method yung kanina. Possibility of biased interviewer or respondent. Next is more time consuming. Possibility of imaginary info and less frank responses. High-skilled interviewer is required. Ang kanina natin is the interview method. Next naman po, under the interview method is the telephonic interview. The telephonic interview requires the interviewer to collect information by contacting respondent on telephone and asking question or opinion orally. So we have advantages and limitations din po under this interview method or the telephonic interview. First, it is flexible, fast, and cheaper than other methods. Second, recall is easy and there is a higher rate of response. Third, no field staff is required. So yung interviewer lang talaga through telephone yung nandun. The limitations naman po ay eto, interview period exceeds 5 minutes of maximum. Restriction to people with telephone facility. Pero parang ngayon yata wala nang, hindi na masyadong restriction, limitation to dahil halos lahat naman po tayo may telephone. Kaya nga lang po cellphone yon. So next limitation is questions have to be short and to the point. Fourth is less information can be collected. Ito naman po yung third method for collecting primary data, which is the questionnaire. A questionnaire method. This is a method for collecting primary data. Questionnaire is sent to the concerned respondent who are expected to read, understand, and reply on their own and return the questionnaire. A questionnaire consists of number of questions printed or typed in a definite order on a form or set of forms. A good questionnaire must have a brief instructions on how to fill out the questionnaire. A questionnaire should be short and simple, should be in logical sequence. Avoidance of technical terms must be observed. Enough space for answer dapat din po. Sorry, na-appended ko lang. So, next naman po is the schedule methods. This is similar to questionnaire method with the difference that schedules are being filled by the enumerator. Enumerators po are the especially appointed for the purpose. So kayong kanina, yung mismong tao yung nag-fill out ng form, dito naman po yung enumerator yung nag-fill out ng form. Yun lang po yung pagkakaiba na rin dalawa. So we are done with the primary data. We'll now proceed with the secondary data. So as defined, secondary data is data collected by someone other than the user, that is, the data is already available and analyzed by someone else. Ito rin naman po yung pagkaka-define kanina na Ms. Berna. So secondary data rin po are existing. It may be either published or unpublished. We have the sources of secondary data. We have the publications of the government. Next is the technical and trade journals. Publication, siguro magbigay na lang ako ng sample ng mga publication of government. Siguro yung Philippine Gazette, yung mga congressional laws. Yung technical and trade journals naman po focus on one industry and provide in-depth information on trends, new products, and other topics of interest to people working in that industry. The third source naman po is the public records. So, pwede nating sabihin dito yung mga nasa National Archive, yung class records or the mga criminal records. Next is statistical data. So, pwede po yan yung mga, siguro yung mga nasa BIR, yung mga collection reports, or kaya yung mga nasa PSA, kung ilan ba yung nasa ganitong age bracket, or ilan ba yung nasa ganitong work, gano'n. Next po, or the last source of published data is the reports of various businesses, banks, and other institutions. So, ito naman po yung unpublished data. These are, yun siguro yung mga unpublished letters, diaries, and unpublished biographies. Medyo. Here are the characteristics naman po of secondary data. First, reliability of data. The following must be answered to test the reliability of data. First, who collected the data? Second, from what source? Third, which method is used? Fourth, the time conducted and the possibility of bias and the accuracy of the data. The second characteristic naman po of secondary data is suitability of data. This means that the scope, object, and nature of the original inquiry must be studied and then carefully scrutinized for suitability. And the last characteristic is the adequacy. The data is considered inadequate if the level of accuracy achieved in data is found inadequate, or if they are related to an area which may be either narrower or wider than the area of the present inquiry. So there are advantages and disadvantages naman din po for secondary data analysis. First, parang last slide na po natin. This is economics, the wideness of data as discussed na dun sa previous slide. Third, guided by expertise and professionals. And the fourth disadvantage is may not answer specific research. So, kinuha ko lang po yung advantages and disadvantages dun sa previous slides. So, parang ito na po yung tips for effective data collections. So, here are the tips. First, define the purpose of data collection. Second, identify the types of data needed. Third, develop a plan for how you will collect the data. And fourth, design who will be responsible for collecting the data. So, yun na po siguro yung last slide ko. So, marami pong salamat. Thank you po, sir. Good morning.
Okay. Data collection and analysis is, of course, a crucial process for managers, no, to engage in when conducting research, no, and the goal of the process is to acquire information that can be used, no, to influence decision making and strategic planning inside business, no. So the most fundamental aspect of data gathering is the identification of relevant sources, no, which can include anything from internal database or to external market force, no, depending on the aims of the research. So in order to ensure that the study goals and constraints are aligned with the methods that are used to gather data, a managers or the researchers need to carefully pick appropriate methods for data collecting. So these methods may include, sabi nga niya, surveys, interviews, observation, or document analysis. After the data has been acquired, no, okay. After the data has been acquired, no, it is subjective to stringent verification in order to guarantee, no, its accuracy and dependability. So data cleansing and validation are two examples of the activities that are included in the process. No? So the goal is to eliminate errors, no, and inconsistencies that could potentially affect, no, the integrity of the analysis. Following this, the data is arranged in a way that is suitable for analysis. So this may be accomplished, no, through numerical coding or, in the case of qualitative data, through thematic categorization. No? So the subsequent analysis process is made more efficient, and the extraction of significant insights is made easier when the organization is completed correctly. So the term data analysis refers to the variety of methods that are adapted to the specific characteristics, no, of the data and the research questions that are being asked. So the purpose of descriptive statistics is to provide a glimpse of the most important patterns and trends, whereas inferential statistics enable managers to draw inferences and make forecasts based on the sample data. So Thematic coding and content analysis are two examples of qualitative analysis, no? Or qualitative analysis approaches that provide deeper insights into complicated events. Yung pinagawa ko sa inyo, quali yun, no? Qualitative, no? So you will be able to provide a, a analysis, no? Or present analysis through thematic coding, no? And these techniques, no, supplement quantitative research by providing a richer grasp, no, of the context in which the phenomenon is occurring. In the process of analyzing the data, one of the most important steps in the interpretation of the findings, no, in order to make meaningful decisions for the business, managers need to extract meaningful insights from the data and evaluate the ramification of those findings. So in order to accomplish this, you need to have a sophisticated awareness of the business environment and the capacity, no, to extract recommendations that can be put into actions from the data, because managers are responsible for transforming data-driven insights into a strategic initiative that drive organizational performance. They do this by drawing on their experience in data analysis methodologies as well as their knowledge of the business or the industry. So throughout the entire process of data gathering and processing, ethical issues continue to be the utmost importance. Now, when it comes to the collection and handling of data, the researchers are obligated to preserve the principle of confidentiality, privacy, no, like data privacy, and informed consent. And these requirements to ensure that ethical standards are maintained throughout the entirety of the research process. Conduct that adheres to ethical standard not only protects the right of participants, but also strengthens the credibility and integrity of the findings of the research projects. So continuous learning and adaptation are crucial components of the research process for managers, no? Particularly when it comes to data gathering and interpretation. Keeping up with the most recent advances in data analytics is essential for managers who want to make use of cutting-edge tools that and process. No, this is because new methodology and technologies are always being developed. No, to do this, it is necessary to make investment in continuous professional development and to cultivate a culture inside the organization that encourages creativity and experimentation. In order to maximize the impact of that research finding have on decision making, it is equally important to effectively communicate those findings. No? Complex studies need to be simplified by managers so that they may provide insights that are understandable, practical, and resonate with stakeholders throughout the business. Effective communication ensures that the findings of research are comprehended and accepted by those who are responsible for making important decisions. No? This can be accomplished through the use of reports, pwedeng presentation, or pwedeng interactive dashboard. And when it comes to research for managers, the process of collecting and interpreting data is a multifaceted endeavor that involves careful planning, rigorous execution, and intelligent interpretation. Researchers or the managers are able to extract actionable insights from data, syempre by utilizing a combination of quantitative and qualitative analytical methodologies. And these insights can then be used to support strategic decision making and drive the success of the organization. So this method is built on the important pillars of ethical conduct, constant learning, and effective communication. And these pillars ensure that the outputs of the study are credible and meaningful in addressing the issues and opportunities that are faced by the manager. So I think that's it for this topic.